Welcome back to another episode of True and Twisted Tales. In this episode, I'll tell you the story of a person I call my other half of a whole idiot, and myself go for a walk, and ending not how I was ever expecting it. Let me explain. Back in 2012, my parents had split up and I had a hard decision to either move with my mom or stay with my dad. I ended up choosing to move with my mom in a new town, which meant leaving all my friends back home. So it was going to be a little bit more difficult for me to make friends in this new town. However, within the next, I want to say 2 months, I had met this kid named Dylan. Now, I'm normally one who believes in fate, and this is a strong moment where I believe that fate had brought us together, because not only myself, but Dylan had also moved into the same town about the same time that I had, but he moved all the way from across country. The first moment I met Dylan, we were in woodshop together. And back then, I was deep into drawing at one point, and I wanted to become an artist. So I spent most of my depressive little emo kid phase and delved into drawing. Now, the main thing that I was drawing at this point was a game called Kingdom Hearts. I am a die-hard fan and will forever live on that hill. Dylan had just so happened to look over and seeing that I was drawing characters from the game, and at that point we started talking about it and became really fast friends from there on out. Now, I'm going to skip a year because at that point me and Dylan had became really close friends, close enough friends to where I'd normally call him my other half, as and we were two halves of a whole idiot. And in this story, and others to come, it's the reason why I call us that. The year was 2013, and me and Dylan had spent plenty of days at my house or his house, or we were just walking around town because it was a little small town that we could just walk around in like 20 minutes. And you've seen the entire town. Now, this one week, we had the bright idea to walk from my house or his house into town multiple times throughout that week. I was never a skinny kid growing up, so imagine 85 to 90 degree weather, and my overweight self would walk from my house into town by myself throughout the summer, which was 5.5 miles long. And normally when I would do that, I'd be wearing heavy clothes because I was always self-conscious about my weight. And also carrying a backpack around or my laptop bag, because this year I was intensely into making YouTube videos. Me and Dylan for one day decided that we wanted to just walk around, trying to hang out with other friends, normal teenage BS. Well, one day we went from my house into town, and then from town into his house, and then from his house to my house, and ultimately ended up staying in town. Now, at this point, it was getting pretty late, but we weren't tired. We were still looking for something to do. Now, the first night, me and Dylan were out pretty late, so we ended up staying with one of my friends' older brother and just chilled out for the night and smoked some greens. I never really did that stuff until that point in my life. Anyways, it had been about 3 o'clock in the morning, and me and Dylan were pretty tired. We didn't actually stay the night over there. So we ended up just walking back to Dylan's house and staying the night there. Morning broke out, and we stuck around his house for a bit until close to around 2 o'clock. And then we went to my house so I could grab my laptop bag so I could edit a video we made a few days prior. We then left my house to walk right into town. Honestly, I don't know how I didn't thin up after that summer. But we got into town, went and hung out with our friend Kenny at the time. We bullshitted with each other, made fun of each other, had some laughs, then Dylan decided we'd go to his dad's bar and grill and go get something to eat and hang out there and play some pool. Which gave me a chance to finish editing our video. 8 or 9 o'clock came around, and we went down to Kenny's house, which was there in town, maybe 3 or 4 minute walk from the bar and grill. We chilled there, had a fire, blasted some music, talked shit about each other some more, and then about other people. I know, not the best thing, but we were a bunch of kids. A bunch of degenerates. Well, either way, we blasted some music, told each other stories about things we experienced in the past. And at this point, Kenny wanted to show us some stuff he had around inside of his house, and ended up in his room and chilled in there until about midnight. Kenny ended up falling asleep on us, and we just announced to him in his sleep that we were heading out, so that way he can actually get a good night's rest. And honestly, we were bored at that point. We ended up walking through town all the way up to the high school. Stuck around there for a little bit, and then headed back down the hill, which led to the middle school, going on a straight stretch, which, weirdly enough, was right next to a cemetery of all fucking places. After we passed that, further down the road was, and you guessed it, the elementary school. And at the end of the road was the town park. Like I said, this town is pretty damn small, and not much to do. But we hung out at the park for a bit, and felt like we were being watched, and ended up scaring the shit out of each other just to get a laugh. But nothing really ever happened. Just a couple of teenagers doing random shit, and just obviously enjoying each other's company. We were 2 peas in a pod. However, this is why I call him a dumbass all the time. At this point, we left the park and walked down the roads of the neighborhoods in town. Thinking about it now explains so much, but either way, we were about 3 or 4 blocks away from the very back end of the neighborhood. We got to one intersection until Dylan stopped and looked like a deer in the headlights, and pipes off with, "Was that a fucking cop?" I looked in the direction that he was looking, and I didn't see a damn thing. So I replied with, "I don't see shit, dude. Quit fucking tweaking. You freaked me out. Quit." And he immediately used the excuse, "Fuck you. I'm from New York. I don't play with that shit." Dylan, you're fine. Let's just keep going. And so we kept walking down the street as he kept on looking around like he wanted to find something until we hit the next intersection. And there he goes again. Stopped dead in his tracks and was looking right behind me, which, skeptical, but my curiosity got the best of me. And I turned around, and surprisingly, there was a car driving by. It was an all blacked out Dodge Charger with its headlights off, driving down the road, going towards town. A completely different direction than us, but all I could see were the taillights. And trying to ease Dylan's mind, I told him, "That's fucking weird, but it looks like a normal car." As we kept on walking and looking back at the car, seeing what it's going to do, my heart sank as I see the car hit its brakes and put in reverse. And as Dylan says, "Oh shit, run!" He starts to take off. The car peels out, and to my surprise, our police lights and headlights turned on, chasing us down the road as I started running. In my head, all I could think was, "I'm fucked. I'm too fat for this shit. I can't do this." I tried to keep up with Dylan, but for one, he was faster than me, and two, I was out of shape. So I yelled out for Dylan. "Dylan, take this. I'm not going. I'm gonna stay back." And all in an instant, he quickly turned around, and I handed him my laptop bag that I had the entire night, and he was just gone after grabbing it. And I went around the corner thinking, can I hang fast? Can I get away with it? Nope, I'm fucked. I thought too long, and the police came flying around the corner. Got out of their car, put my hands behind my back, and patted me down and just asking, "What are you doing? Where did your buddy go? What's your buddy's name? Why did you run? What's your name?" Before I could even respond to any of their questions, like, damn, let me speak. But at the same time, thank God, because I'm fucking winded and I gotta make up some shit. They asked for my name again, and I told them, and then they asked me for my buddy's name, and I just said Dylan. "What's his last name?" "I don't fucking know, I just met him." There was no way in hell I was going to snitch on my brother. "Bullshit, kid. What's his last name? We know you know it." And to keep Dylan safe, I gave them the name of another Dylan we went to school with. He was a complete dick, so of course I'm going to throw him under the bus. Then I got thrown in the back of a cop car, and they asked me where I lived, so I gave them the address to my house. And he didn't know where that was, so I gave him directions. Like, seriously? Haven't you heard of GPS? Google Maps? Whatever, dude. Anyways, as he was halfway to my house, he said, "You know, if no one answers, we're gonna have to take you in." I was really stupid and asked, like, jail? "Yup." and I'm not proud of it, and if I'm being honest, I started crying. Fine, I bawled like a baby, okay? Wasn't funny at the time, but sure as hell is now. We ended up pulling in the driveway, and he got out of the car and started pounding on the door I normally used to go inside, and there was no answer at all. And all I could think was, I know you're home, please answer the door. I don't want to go to jail. The cop walks back to the car and opens the door and asks, "Where's their bedroom? I'll try knocking on the window and try to get them up, and then try the door again." I told him, then he did exactly what he said. But when he was pounding on the door, my now stepfather had opened the door. But when he did, he was half naked with his damn shotgun. And went back into the house, obviously, to probably put it away. He was talking to the cop, and the officer pointed towards the car. And when he did, I could see my mother behind my stepfather, and all I could think in that moment was, if I don't go to jail, I'm so fucked. Well, exchanges were made. I got smacked by my mother in front of the cop, which was wild. And I thought, what the fuck? You're not gonna get on her case for that, but running from you, you put me in cuffs and threaten to take me to jail? Such bullshit. Well, the night ends, and my mother tells me I'm grounded for a month. Met Dylan at school, like, almost a week later, because it was the end of summer. He returns my bag and tells me he got granted for a month too. Well, turns out Dylan almost got away with it. He told me what happened after he took off. Apparently, he had sprinted back to Kenny's house and just let himself in, went up to Kenny's room, and when he sat down, Kenny almost woke up going, "Huh? What?" And Dylan's immediate response was, "Nothing, shut the fuck up, go back to sleep." And that was that. Well, until he got home, he soon realized that my mother and his stepmother had each other's number, and my mother called her and told her what had happened, and that's how she found out. His dad, on the other hand, he was friends with the chief of police, and he found out that way. So, either way, we were both screwed. Till this day, I still give him shit for running in the first place, because apparently that night there was a stabbing close from where we were at, actually, and the person was on the loose. Plus, there just so happened to be a town curfew. Lesson learned, I guess. Thank you all for listening, my twisted little minds. Don't forget to like, comment your twisted thoughts, and most importantly, subscribe for the next True and Twisted Tale.